already in.
They're on turn 4.
Wait, they're on turn 4?
We already left on Tech's side. We've got some pretty hefty damage on 𝗂𝘀 and 𝗂𝘀𝗺. This is already happening. We've missed quite a bit.
Yeah, guys, do you guys want to start off on one that just started off? I mean, we could just roll with the punches. I'm down. Let's just go. You know, if anything, this game ends a little bit earlier, and then we catch up. We catch some of the other games as well.
Yes, let's take a look. I mean, the lead here from Alver's side, he does have that nice Synergy Master Water Cutting Lily. But he has made a couple of swaps in the meantime, no longer on the field. Techh, on the other hand, going with the tried and true Bang Bros method of move flank and scunch, perfect jab base jump, savage suplex goring. That is just a lot of physical threat right off the bat. But I mean, scunch has already fallen down. It looks like 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗆 came in at some point, took a very big hit, did get him one defense. A lot has happened in just 4 turns. That is...
Yeah, you're so right. It's so much damage within that first couple of turns. But here goes a little 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗆 action of Alver's side. Uppercut, gonna be getting eaten up. And wow,
Ooh.
that heat up doing a lot for him.
Yeah, that was so much damage. Below 50%. Toxic Ink from 𝗂𝗶𝗆 will kill the already injured monkey. And then execution. 𝗂𝗶𝗆 40.6. He doesn't fall down. Move flank just barely not enough. Oh, wow. If he had just one more attack TV, that would have been the difference maker.
Yeah.
Attack.
Literally missing the execution by 0.6%. So insane stuff. Maybe able to get off a final attack here onto this fire 𝗂𝘀. But let's take a look. I mean, Alver in the position of having no heat up monkey on his side. So what does he want to do?
Well, looks like he wants to swap in 𝗬𝗪𝗔. This is a little bit risky, staring down a fire 𝗂𝘀, but I guess expecting water cannon.
Ooh.
Monkey survives. 𝗬𝗪𝗺 and 𝗬𝗪𝗧 Alver down into the red on both sides. But now a sized munch rack against move flank. It'll be a lot against 𝗂𝘀. Was still decent too. That was more than I expected. Now, I mean, that +1 defense, it doesn't make a difference for you, poor little monkey. You've only got 1 more HP.
That is true. And man, look at Alver's entire roster. It's almost like they don't even exist, but they're hanging on by the slimmest of margins. Literally everything except the 𝗂𝗶𝗆 is in the orange or not in the red HP. So Techh doing a fantastic job. Can he hang on to this lead?
Sharp stabs from 𝗬𝗪𝗺's move flank. 𝗬𝗪𝗺's synergy goes before poor monkey. Doragon is down and out. First death on Alver's side. And oh, base jump on 𝗬𝗪𝗧. He falls as well. Techh is looking so good. Just a minute ago, Alver was looking so good. But now this 𝗂𝘀 is going to die right away. 𝗂𝗪𝗧 has the most HP for Alver, but it's still not very much. I mean, 40.6%. That could go down very quickly with this move flank. Just going for a suicidal goring.
Yeah, I can see something. I mean, a lot of 3 prio moves. So the question is how much speed on everything. So let's see what goes first. Alver did have the speed arrow, but it looks like Alver doesn't really run a lot of speed. So electing to swap out to this 𝗂𝗪𝗪. How did Techh want to do so? Goring the 𝗂𝗪𝗪. Okay, bringing the only healthy Temtem a bit more down.
Ooh, 𝗂𝗪𝗪 falling victim to that. Do kill the 𝗂𝘀. You bring Techh down to his trusty old 𝗬𝗪𝗧, but I don't know. This 𝗬𝗪𝗧 still has max HP and Alver does not. Alver goes down in 2 turns no matter what here, so he's got to make it work. He's got to outspeed. I mean, sharp stabs was used, or was that the other side? That was the other side.
Yeah,
this 𝗬𝗪𝗧 just came in.
Exactly.
So we're looking at drill impact or double gash. There we go. I was gonna say kick.
And yeah, both of those attacks will bring down the 𝗂𝘀. So then it's just a 1v1. I think 100% Techh is looking really strong here, unless the water synergized WCL is gonna do like 80 something %, and then the toxic ticks from the 𝗂𝗪𝗧 But that's still a whole nother turn to get that done. So it's looking good. A simple double gash onto the 𝗂𝗀𝗃, and then you got sharp stab / crystal bite. Anything outspeeds the 𝗂𝗶𝗃𝗴.
Alver still might have this if he's got water jet up. I mean, he's probably, taking himself out for it, as 𝗂𝗶𝗃𝗴 doesn't have much stamina left. But if the synergy water cutting lily can do enough that water jet finishes it off, that could be a pretty incredible comeback from low HP.
Yeah, if this is a 500 speed, 500 attack, like no HP 𝗬𝗚𝗃, this could definitely go down, or just very little HP regardless on this 𝗬𝗚𝗃. But yeah, Alver trying to think of the right line of play. I mean, if he does have water jet, like you said, that literally might be enough. WCL with the water synergy, with the synergy master, plus that water jet. Let's see 100% where are we going down to.
Yeah, water cutting lily goes first. It brings 𝗬𝗚𝗃 to 35. More than enough every day, but now 𝗂𝗶𝗃𝗴, do you have what you need? Ice Stalactite might even do it, but water jet, it's here, it doesn't do it. 𝗬𝗚𝗃 survives with 8.9%, and that is definitely game one in favor of Techh, the Crystal Bite, taking this 𝗬𝗚𝗃 down to 0 and knocking the undefeated Swiss player down to a 0-1 start.
That is right. Incredible stuff. Techh trying to go on a bit more of that underdog story. And man, I'm loving the outfit. No shirt and the skirt looking fly. Right?
Yeah, part of Grand Hunter X, he's got, I think, 1,500 TMR, give or take, at the moment. So he definitely knows what he's doing. He's good enough to make it onto Kami's leaderboard at the moment. So that is saying something.
Mm-hmm.
This is nice. We get a Voliren ban on Tech's side and Naga ban for Alver. Alver leading with that 𝗂𝗶𝗃𝗴, looking at his nature 𝗂𝗃𝗃. That is the exact same thing that we saw game one, or would have seen if we had made it in time. But maybe Alver says, I didn't win last time. Maybe something a little different. Maybe something a little more parrier will get the job done.
Yeah, we're noticing a lot more neutral Temtems, at least in this tournament. Overall in the meta, I want to say as well, I feel like people have been neglecting mental Temtems. We used to see a handful of, 𝗬𝗶𝗃𝗴𝗃s, a handful of Nagais. We do see a Nagais from Alver, but I feel like the majority of tamers, they're going with more of the aggro strat rather than those answers for those neutral Temtems. Maybe just the mental Temtems kind of fell short, like they didn't do enough against that aggro start. So we'll see. I mean, a little different start from Alver. So Machoke and 𝗂𝗶𝗃𝗴, I think the game plan is here for Alver. Maybe just get some good Euroshoals and do the damage little by little like that.
Especially, Urushiel's really nice. The P-Jabs are also very good when you're looking at, Ice Stalactite, Water Jet, even the Toxic Ink sometimes. We do see, as was the same with last game, this Mouflink is Hurrybort, so we could even have a cage turn one if he just wants to guarantee some pummeling onto 𝗂𝗶𝗃𝗴 later on. But it could also just be so much damage. I mean, Goring and Perfect Jab, or even Base Jump Perfect Jab to try and get that off first onto this 𝗂𝗶𝗃𝗴 would be a lot of damage.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, as you said, something like P-Jab, Base Jump, just to make sure the P-Jab goes before the Mouflink. So let's see. It did connect onto 𝗂𝗶𝗃𝗴𝗃. 𝗂𝗶𝗃𝗃 almost won it back for Alver, so does want to gun that first. And yeah, getting over 50% damage on the 𝗂𝗶𝗃𝗴𝗃.
Tenderness was a good play there, I guess, suspecting that, if I click a Urushiel, they're faster than me, they're already going to poison themselves. That won't work out very well. So the Tenderness is some good nerfing on Mouflink, as well as nice little bit of damage on Scunch, but I still think this is the end of the line for 𝗂𝗶𝗃𝗴𝗃 if he stays in. I mean, we could even have the Cage Savage Suplex, that would be enough, but no, Techh retreats this Mouflink for Size Munch. Monkey back on the field, wants to get his wreck available. Not really anything to challenge him, especially with Goulder swapping in for that 𝗂𝗂𝗃𝗴𝗃. Savage Suplex doesn't quite do half. This Brawny is just so good on Scunch, though. Absolutely terrifying amounts of damage all the time, but no tenderness. More and more now. Scunch bullet. Brawny's gone. That's that.
Very true. And man, Alver is a man on a mission. Just get -1 attack on everything on Tech's side. Doing a good job taking care of the move flank, 33% reduction. Now the Scunch. You know, everything on Tech's board or on Tech's corner is all physical damage. So that tenderness might be a really crucial in the long run. We'll take a look. So P-Jab does connect onto 𝗵𝗶𝗃, bringing it down. Does the monkey want to go for heat up? It seemed rather free, and he does indeed.
It's nice, but tenderness is still available. So poor little 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗃, you're only +1 now. That was a lot of stamina for just one buff in its attack that could easily go away this coming turn. But yeah, I mean, this 𝗵𝗶𝗃, this is the game changer for Alver. You'd mentioned every threat except for 𝗂𝘀𝗶𝗆's water cannon, which is not going to do anything on 𝗂𝗶𝗃 and 𝗂𝘀𝗆𝗄. So certainly 𝗵𝗶𝗃 has to go down. The -1 defense is a good start. He's probably going to need -3, -4 to get the job done in time, though.
And finally, the 𝗵𝗶𝗃 does retreat for Alver's side, so it didn't do any damage, but did do a lot in terms of value on Alver's side. So Ninja Jutsu would have done a lot more, but a little under that 50-60% mark. Here goes the 𝗧𝗵𝗃 melee synergist wreck. Is it going to be enough? No, just 1/4 and 1/2 effective into each of these Temtems. So good awareness for Alver.
Yeah, I mean, not much damage done. And then the synergy water cutting, it doesn't target 𝗧𝗵𝗃. It goes into the Scunch instead. Maybe predicting a swap, maybe just wanting to, before it's able to cause more chaos. Move flank swaps in Scunch's place for Techh. I mean, now we have things like Cage Online again, but 𝗧𝗵𝗃 doesn't want to stay in. Nobody wants to come in right now. This is a very terrifying board state for Alver as 𝗬𝗂𝗪 takes damage, 𝗂𝘀𝗃 takes damage. This is a good spot.
Yeah, and the 𝗂𝘀𝗃 right around that 40% mark. So he never used the Goring, but Dim-Mak going first. So 𝗂𝗂𝗪 does get brought down. What does move flank elect to do? He does go for the Goring, but not enough. That is a tankier 𝗂𝘀𝗃. Or no, the -1 coming into play there, of course.
Yeah, the tenderness making the difference, but Dim-Mak taking down that synergy does mean 𝗧𝗵𝗃 survives the turn. He can use another... I mean, really, you're not going to hit anybody except for 𝗬𝗂𝗪 with that, and 𝗬𝗂𝗪 is not coming out this turn.
Yeah, no way. He's probably looking at the Golder, but that's it. Okay, or the 𝗵𝗶𝗃, of course. The 𝗵𝗶𝗃 did so much. It does get that water cannon toxic synergy online, but 𝗂𝘀𝗃 is running out of HP and is running out of stamina, so might just want to go out swinging. The question is, I don't think he's going to be faster than the 𝗧𝗵𝗃, as we saw Dim-Mak outspeed the WCL. So if he gets the melee synergy, which we see him doing it right now, he should be able to get off a final attack.
Yeah, if that attack is a wreck, though, into 𝗵𝗶𝗃 𝗂𝘀𝗪, it's not going to accomplish too much. Parrier, certainly good. I mean, it's -1, so a little bit more. He gets it down below half. 𝗂𝘀𝗪 into the red, but it's still... it's still 𝗧𝗵𝗃 wanted to accomplish, as it certainly would like to take down this 𝗬𝗂𝗪 on Alver's side. I guess Techh does still have a 𝗂𝘀𝗃 and a 𝗬𝗂𝗪 of his own. 𝗂𝘀𝗃 hasn't taken any of those tenderness just yet, so it could still do some good damage.
Alright, so out comes the move flank. Goring is not online, but things like execution are online. Is execution enough at the point 𝗵𝗶𝗃 is currently at 48%? You're just asking for 8.3% damage from the move flank. Is that possible? 𝗵𝗶𝗃 does have parriers, so it will be really close. So we'll see. Maybe not going to play. Oh, but 𝗵𝗶𝗃 is at -1 defense. Is the execution reasonable? Move flank is at -1 though too, so I think it's gonna be a little bit short, gonna fall to like 41, 42%. So maybe not the most ideal.
Execution's always a little rough as well when there's, full HP Tems in the back that Alver has now swapped into with this 𝗬𝗬𝗃. So execution wouldn't do very much at all, and then 𝗬𝗬𝗃 on Tech's side is likely targeting down this Goulder, but no, the Crystal Bite onto 𝗬𝗬𝗃 instead does about 40%. Base jump goes towards Goulder, not risking the execution. Definitely a good call is now the execution, actually, never mind. No, yeah, 𝗵𝗂𝗃 is back in. The execution is looking good once more, as it would kill 𝗂𝗀𝗡 if that was the swap, or it does most likely kill 𝗵𝗂𝗃 if it stays in.
Yeah, we'll see if he does want to deploy. He could go for like a slight attack on 𝗵𝗂𝗃 first with something like that sharp stab, just to make 100% certainty that 𝗵𝗂𝗃 does drop down, because he has the fire 𝗂𝗡 in the back line for 𝗬𝗬𝗃. So 𝗬𝗬𝗃 isn't the most important threat for his team right now, since that 𝗂𝗡 is in the back. So 𝗵𝗂𝗃, you take that guy down, looking good, but no hook kick onto 𝗬𝗬𝗃. Okay.
Yeah, it makes a bit of sense. The hook kick on 𝗬𝗬𝗃, 𝗵𝗂𝗃 does stay in, but perfect jab doesn't go first. Execution onto the 𝗬𝗬𝗃, expecting maybe the 𝗵𝗂𝗃 to swap and didn't want to risk executing the poor little 𝗂𝗡. Instead, he takes down 𝗬𝗬𝗃.
Yeah, and you know what? I think Techh just did the unthinkable. Did he just take out a 5-0 #1 seed in a 2-0 fashion? That is what is leaning towards right now.
Yeah, definitely. The sharp stabs bringing down the 𝗂𝗡, the goring doing almost half of what's left on 𝗵𝗂𝗃. I mean, 𝗬𝗬𝗃 falls down on Tech's side. That is the last saving grace, but I mean, really, you're -1 defense on 𝗵𝗂𝗃. This is a full HP synergy. Enyo, of course it's enough.
And there we go. Faster than we could blink. It looks like Techh taking down her undefeated #1 seed, and that is 2-0. So
J-Dragon Tsubaki 3 versus 3 on turn 12. Bit of an HP advantage for J-Dragon, but his trusty 𝗧𝗵𝗺𝗃's nowhere to be seen, and Tsubaki has his trusty Saku. That's gotta be some kind of points, right? That your mascot is gonna win.
yeah, absolutely. And no direct answer to that mascot as well. 𝗬𝗫𝗺𝗺 maybe with some toxic inks, but Saku with those lifeful saps tends to recover a bit too much. And of course, Saku is a Wind Temtem into the toxic of the 𝗬𝗫𝗺𝗺s. So it's gonna be close, but Tsubaki with that beautiful Luma Saku might be enough to edge out J-Dragon. But at the look at things, I feel like this is still game 1 right now.
Really, yeah, this would have had to have been a very fast game, I think, to reach this point already for game 2. Even though we are only on turn 13, we know that both of these players like to make the right decision, and sometimes that comes at a cost of time. But certainly, I mean, both of these guys, these teams look so good. We have the Rawrzyyy. We haven't seen Rawrzyyy nearly at all since the start of meta. It's just really taking a fall, especially with the Quetzalcoatl on Raikkonen. It really outshines, but in this instance, he has slowed down the Volarend as well as the mix. So that definitely works. Slowing down an aerobic Volarend is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. He did not get any speed debuffs on the Saku, but hey, it's already down 1 toxic tick. Something else to note, there's no buffs whatsoever on the Saku, so no Kinu, no Stonewall. So that's where you wanna, if you're ever facing off a Saku, that's at least the Saku you wanna verse. So there it goes, that EM bringing it a bit down with that toxic ink. It's gonna be oh, wait a minute. Oh!
Execution onto the poor little fluff. That 𝗵𝗵𝗃 was bland and deliberate and deadly.
Yeah, and it looks like Tsubaki will be brought down by J-Dragon.
It halts your stall. You don't have to do all of that damage. You know, your Quetzalcoatl is only doing 30%, but who knows? Maybe an execution will do 40.
Yeah, you're so right, and that's maybe a little key factor of why he found success for Tsubaki, because Tsubaki does like to have those tanky boys, but you bring him down a little bit, as you said, to that 40% mark, and then execution will do the rest, and we saw it work wonders in that first game. Let's see, maybe Tsubaki catches wind of that, maybe wants to ban move flank, but it looks like the raise might have been the problem for Tsubaki-chan's size, as the raise tends to do. So earns the respect and does get banned for that opener.
Curious what Raze would have done damage-wise necessarily, because it had 2 demoralize nerfs on... both of them were also on Volarend. The Volarend is anaerobic, so it's not going for those HKSs. Mix isn't the best counter into J-Dragon's team. So I guess it might just be a respect ban saying I don't want it to happen to any of my other Tems that may need it a little bit more. Or maybe the Fire Tornado on Saku 𝗧𝗵𝗵 is a little too scary.
Yeah, I could definitely see something. I think it definitely just was with the speed, just allowing J-Dragon to always move first, which probably was a bit annoying for Tsubaki. But another Temtem Tsubaki had in the previous game that he won't be using this game is going to be Kinu. So Kinu is a key part of Tsubaki's strategy, just to buff up that 𝗧𝗵𝗵, buff up the Golder, buff up the Saku. So really good ban for J-Dragon, and starting off with some heat here, Mashuk and the 2-Vine. How does Tsubaki want to respond? I feel like the mix doesn't feel all that bad, but what is he considering?
The 𝗧𝗵𝗵, I mean, that's maybe dangerous. We know the 𝗧𝗵𝗵 is built to survive, and it has some pretty fantastic physical defenses. But I think, you know, Perfect Jab, Crystal Plume, Gatling, or even a Noxious Bomb, if it's here, would do quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, into any spot, I feel like a Perfect Jab, Crystal Plume into Grumper does a whole lot. P-Jab into Noxious or CPG into 𝗧𝗵𝗵 does a whole lot. So a lot of pressure coming out from J-Dragon. How will Tsubaki try to mitigate that damage? He always, as we always say, he makes a tough position a couple turns later into a favorable position. So I'm very curious how Tsubaki will do it here in game number 2.
Yeah, it might just have to be the Golder that swamps in and takes the hit. He's got more HP than anybody else. More likely to survive and maybe, you know, later on. But, I mean, that would only stop this for 1 turn. The whole momentum aspect of this game, if your opponent hits you really, really hard, you have to survive it and hit back, or else they're just going to hit you hard again and again and again, and then it spirals into something you don't want to face. Of course, Tsubaki is fantastic at mitigating those threats, but this is a very scary lead from J-Dragon here without any mental or wind to target down this Mashuk right away, at least. This is looking pretty strong for J-Dragon on turn 1.
Yeah, definitely. And funny enough, he had the orange side, so Tsubaki with the counter pick. But sometimes you get the better up with that orange side, just picking 2 Temtems that are such a headache for your opponent to deal with. And that is what J-Dragon did. So let's see if he can put the pressure on Tsubaki early. To be fair, Grumper still has a boatload of damage on the 2-Vine, though it's just a neutral attack. 2-Vine special defense, very lackluster, so Grumper with the Thunder Strike might be doing a whole lot. The question is, does it want to stay in though? Like we said, that P-Jab CPG probably brings it down to maybe like 40% or so.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe even a little further than that. Maybe looking at the 25% range.
Yeah.
Because the Perfect Jab is just so scary. I mean, Perfect Jab alone from this 5-head, I'm pretty sure that J-Dragon runs a little bit of attack on this Mashuk, because we've seen it do some terrifying amounts of damage before. So Grumper's not happy here, but it is 𝗧𝗵𝗵 retreating first for Tsubaki. King Saku, Superman Saku taking its place, sparkling in our eyes. The Perfect Jab does hit this Grumper, 19% on its own, and humiliating slap. Grumper is -2, just like that, but he still has chamomile. Always leave and come back later, and all of that goes away.
That is very true, and you get that turn 1 double edge. So hey, we said Saku did not have a Kinu. Here's a pseudo Kinu, so +1/+1 defense, special defense onto the Saku, and that's exactly what he wants. However, the biggest question here, is Grumper gonna stay on the board, or is Grumper gonna swap out to potentially something like, there's not the best swaps. You don't want to swap into Mix. I feel like 𝗃𝗏 P-Jab CPG definitely closes it out. I mean, it's a tough spot, I want to say, for this Grumper.
I mean, Grumper has to leave. If he stays in, he is going down. And Grumper would be so nice coming in later on, get rid of those minus defenses and fight this Volerend and 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. That is exactly what Tsubaki wants. So it is the 𝗧𝗏𝗺 who comes in instead. Trusty old 𝗧𝗏𝗺 takes the uppercut. 15% Velocity gives him a bit of a buff. Tornado onto this 𝗏𝗃𝗃. That is going to do so much damage, down to 16% just like that.
Ooh.
Hand Fan Air Specialist is so scary. Humiliating slap onto the 𝗧𝗏𝗺 though. At least this one will stick around.
Yeah, oh, it doesn't, right? Because of the Velocity, so it goes up and then it goes down. Or the other way, it goes down and then it goes back up. So a little bit of a miss, not miss anything, just no true value there, just a little bit of damage onto the 𝗧𝗏𝗺. But we all know, pair that up with the Nature Temtem to his side, he's gonna be able to recover that with the Revitalize. So I think J-Dragon did have a bit of that advantageous lead with the opener, but Tsubaki has brought in things back around, and I think this is putting a lot more pressure back onto J-Dragon.
Yeah, but J-Dragon started this game with perfect jab and humiliating slap. He does sacrifice this 𝗏𝗃𝗃 in the process, but getting Saku down as vulnerable as it now is could definitely end up looking very good. 𝗃𝗏𝗏 takes the Frond Whip like a champion, 78.9% left. Not enough stamina to really attack this turn though, so that's where it gets a little bit rougher. Movelank takes the spot of that poor 𝗏𝗃𝗃. Now, I mean, Movelank can do a lot of damage here. Saku is -1. If 𝗃𝗏𝗏 just wants to go for it and double in, it would be quite a lot, but there is always the risk of that mix. Mix coming in, getting into Puppet Master is not something you want to fight if you're J-Dragon.
Yeah, absolutely right. And no, I believe no AoE techniques, with the exception being perhaps Toxic Plume. Toxic Plume or Toxic Gas from 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏s and the Volerend might be the only AoE, but both of those toxic techniques, you're going to have to rely on the toxic ticks alone, as Mix is going to be resistant to that damage. So yeah, I think you're right. If he wants to double into Saku, Saku has to be very careful. Because Saku takes a lot of damage. I mean, I think Tsubaki willing to take the risk on the Mix though, because then Mix can do a lot of potential output for the following turn. Crystal Spike into 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏 does a lot. And then of course you have your Psy Surge and Energy Manipulation on the move flank that does a lot as well.
Now it looks like J-Dragon wants to get this Volerend up and running, swaps it in for 𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏. Water Cutting Lily hits the move flank, not very hard though. Base jump onto the Saku brings him down to 15%. Tornado isn't going to do, never mind, size munch, but that low special defensive move flank coming back to bite him that turn.
Yeah, and you know what? Thinking of just bringing out the Volerend for that Noxious Bomb perhaps on the 𝗧𝗏𝗺𝗃/Saku, it almost missed the opportunity for that CPG onto Saku, because you could have got rid of it right there. But hindsight 2020 was probably thinking that the Mix came out. But yeah, insane stuff. So Saku's still alive and maybe retreating this turn, or might want to get off a final. No, it had to retreat, of course.
Yeah, retreats into this Grumper. He says, you know, Chamomile, it expired. It's back now. We're going to get that Bush synergy. We're going to take away your -2 defense, and we're going to challenge this Volerend quite a lot. Get the minus attack on Grumper, but he doesn't really mind being the special attack guru that he is. 𝗧𝗏𝗺𝗏𝗏𝗏, the Bush protects him. And 𝗬𝗵𝗶 protects Grumper from the ticks. I mean, that was a fantastic turn from Tsubaki. And I don't think he even needed to read what J-Dragon was doing.
Yeah, and I missed a little bit of the match, but yeah, Grumper coming in, so now pressuring out both of these Temtems. But as we said, the Grumper no longer with those minus defenses, so something like that CPG that we thought would easily kill the Grumper at -2 defense, thanks to the 𝗬𝗵𝗶 getting rid of all that, so not anything done on the Grumper so far. And Grumper doesn't really mind the -1 attack as it has no physical attack damage. So looking decently good on the side of Tsubaki. How is J-Dragon trying to bring things back around?
Oh, he clicks Noxious Bomb onto the 𝗧𝗵𝗺, but that does just give him another Callosity buff. Revitalize onto the Grumper, brings him back up to the green. CPG doesn't even take him out of the green. And now Thunder Strike onto poor little Squawk. It does just below 50%, so it won't kill on its own. He does need to be doubled into this next turn if he wants Squawk to fall down.
Yeah, and that's actually impressive. Not even 50% on a neutral Volarin, so it didn't even have a +1 special defense, so that's a bit of a tankier Volarin. But let's see, it looks like Tsubaki still has a bit of momentum on his side. So Saku coming back. Is this gonna be another double? No, you can't double edge here. Oh, catching the Saku on the entry. Impressive.
That was potential Bloom, I guess, maybe. It does protect 𝗧𝗵𝗺 from losing a little bit of the Water Cutting Lily damage later on, but it does mean that this Volarin survives another turn.
Yeah, that is true, and we saw it's been going first. However, if something like a Alakazam mix or the 𝗧𝗵𝗺 comes back out, those 3-power moves should be able to move first. Of course, Volarin has a 3-power move of his own. It's a Hyperkinetic Strike, but at base speed, it's not going to be doing a whole lot. So what can Jay do? Oh, maybe the play. I know Tuvine is definitely out of stamina, but I'm not too sure. HKS the mix into a CPG overexertion. Is that worth? Or does that feel a little bit bad on the side of Jay?
I mean, that's where my mind was going as well. If you're able to bring down Mix, that's fantastic. But if it swaps... That is, I think, too much of a risk for J-Dragon to go for right now, just because the overexertion of CPG from 8%, I mean, that might bring us down 20 to 30% HP on Tuvine, and that's just too much of a risk for no guarantee of anything. But it is the 𝗬𝗺 swap in instead. 𝗬𝗵𝗶 going onto this Volarin, so Alakazam does just want to survive. Oh, and the Stonewall!
Huge.
Stonewall Alakazam. Now there is no way that this Tuvine CPG brings him down. There's going to have to be a lot of damage done to Mix before the CPG. And that's a little bit too much planning, I think. That puts Alakazam in a fantastic spot.
Yeah, I think in a huge, as you said, great spot for Alakazam. Does double damage, or not double damage, but effective or just good damage into everything Jay has. So the move flank doesn't want to eat any mental techniques such as the EM potentially coming out this turn. 𝗬𝗺 does not want to eat any Crystal Spikes as well as the Tuvine. So Alakazam mix is going to clearly be that win condition Tsubaki needed to bring back this game number 2, potentially bring back the set. We will see if this goes to a game number 3. There's still more Temtem to be taken down, so anything could still happen, but the momentum is highly on Tsubaki's side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tuvine does swap back in for the move flank, so maybe hoping just the Psy Surge will come through and it won't do too much. But Tuvine's low special defense means it doesn't really want to take that hit either. 𝗬𝗵𝗶 instead on Tuvine, it doesn't mind that one. The exhaustion's not going to do anything with that 𝗬𝗵𝗶, and it wouldn't have done anything anyway with the swap in. 𝗬𝗺 though, Toxic Ink on the Volt thing, and now none of the Tems on J-Dragon's side want to be on the field.
Yeah, exactly. A double up onto a 𝗃𝗏𝗃, that's going to be devastating, and you don't really have any other option because your backline dies as well. So, that's a pretty good special defense to 𝗃𝗏𝗃, so it doesn't do a whole lot. But the Toxic Ink, funny enough, trying to go into the Volirin, not doing a whole lot though.
Yeah, and that's CPG as well. It does bring us down below 50, but it wasn't on its own. And that is a concession. Tsubaki-chan brings it back 1-1 in these games around, putting it in his favor, just based on those easy, smaller decisions that you're constantly just clawing for more and more ground. And eventually, Tsubaki finds himself with more ground to stand on than J-Dragon.
Yeah, so I'm very curious here. Is Tsubaki going to go for the same bans? Did he think it only worked on the blue side? Because now he's going to be on the orange side. J-Dragon not going for the Kinu first, goes for the Naga starting things off.
Yeah, that may be a little bit telling about what J-Dragon wants to do early on. Maybe even prioritize 𝗧𝗏𝗃 a little bit more. Just try to do that fire damage onto the... well, a lot of nature and even crystal Tems here. It is still a rise ban from Tsubaki. Doesn't want to fight it. It really must have done something awesome that we missed in the first game, because it is respect bans 2 games in a row now, and that could be the difference maker.
Yeah, it looks like Tsubaki liked his matchup without that raise there. So how does he want to start off? He started off Mashuk 2-Vine the previous game too. It didn't go so much in his favor, but does like the 2-Vine into Tsubaki's team. So we'll see what Tsubaki has in mind. Something like 𝗵𝗵𝗶 mix doesn't feel all that bad, but I feel like he has to maybe squeeze in this Kinu here. Kinu pretty important. As we saw in the game too, not the most important or the most critical, but Kinu does feel nice on Tsubaki's team. So we'll see what he has in mind.
You know, as much as I do like 2-Vine into Tsubaki's team, it doesn't have any direct threats and it does quite a lot of damage to everybody. I feel like for game 3, this might not be the lead that J-Dragon wants, because it's almost like saying, you know what, Tsubaki, this is just something that's good. I don't really know what I want to do, so I'll let you pick and then I'll decide later. I think that having a strong game plan headed into match 3 against one of the players that's known for having the strongest game plans would potentially be a better route.
Yeah, almost like picking an early Kinu on that blue side, just trying to feel out what Tsubaki's considering. But to be fair, 2-Vine, as we said, it's just a good, with that humiliating slap as well, it's just a good opener J-Dragon feels comfortable with. So whatever Temtem, at least he knows he can minus the defense. But there goes the 𝗵𝗵𝗃. Let's see who Tsubaki wants to pair with. He's looking at 𝗂𝗀𝗪. I'm not too sure he wants to start off with the 𝗂𝗀𝗪 facing off a 2-Vine. So I think he's just thinking about it. He did start off with the 𝗧𝗵𝗶 game number 2. So going with that tried and true. What worked for him the game 2. Let's see if it works for him in game number 3.
Ooh, okay. So we see the exact same thing early on. I guess maybe we'll see something a little bit different this time. Instead of humiliating slap on 𝗧𝗵𝗃 a little later and doubling in 𝗶𝗵𝗃 humiliating slap on 𝗵𝗵𝗃, maybe just go for the damage early and see what happens, but not bringing in. And turns out to be kind of rough for J-Dragon as he loses 𝗧𝗏𝗃. No more effective damage onto literally half of Tsubaki's team.
Yeah, so identical starts for both of these tamers. Let's see if it could play out a little bit different, because I think I saw a little message. J-Dragon was considering, he did the minus defense reduction on the 𝗵𝗵𝗃 because he thought the 𝗵𝗵𝗃 was going to swap out. It doesn't work too well on the 𝗧𝗵𝗃 spot though because of that colossity trait, so maybe electing to go for damage rather than the debuff, something like an uppercut CPG on the 𝗵𝗃 if it wants to stay in. That doesn't feel all that bad.
Yeah, I think just a lot of damage early on is a better route, because then you can at least take down this 𝗵𝗃 when it comes back in later. You know, maybe avoid getting that bush synergy later on for a 𝗧𝗵𝗃 even. That would be very... just dissuades any more buffs than he needs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, a lot of information for 𝗧𝗵𝗺 to work with. You know, trying to make a little bit different choices here in game number 3. So let's see. 𝗧𝗵𝗵, not a lot of pressure, so it could be a swap to Saku. That is exactly what Tsubaki did game number 2. He swapped in the 𝗧𝗵𝗵, brought out the Saku. Does 𝗧𝗵𝗺 want to plan for that and double defense down on that spot? But the answer would have been wrong, so everything stays in.
Yeah, water cutting Lily onto 𝗬𝗺. Perfect jab towards 𝗵𝗵 along with a CPG. Goes for the damage this time. It is below 50%, but not that much really at the end of the day. Thunder Strike onto 𝗬𝗺 brings him down almost as far.
Yeah, and thanks to that inductor right there, bringing it above the 50%. So another attack, the double in from 𝗧𝗵𝗺, is not even going to be enough. The uppercut CPG did a little bit over 50, but it didn't do 54%. So this is a tough situation. At the same time, Tsubaki doesn't have any kill potential as well. That Thunder Strike on that near no special attack. But man, making matters worse, the Revitalize on the 𝗵𝗺.
Yeah, but it is the double perfect jab that might make it enough. CPG just barely not. 9.9%. Thunder Strike Inductor heals himself back up again. Almost still in the red. Still healthily in the red. But now, I mean, at this point, -2, even if he swaps out and comes back in later, loses those -2s, he's going down to pretty much anything.
Yeah, and this was a better approach, I want to say, for 𝗧𝗵𝗺, because now at 17%, everything's been going first for 𝗧𝗵𝗺, except for anything the 𝗧𝗵𝗺 does. But with that WCL, it doesn't do anything in terms of big damage onto 𝗧𝗵𝗺's side. So this is a good position. An uppercut, as that 𝗬𝗠k has been going first, should bring that 𝗵𝗺 down. Maybe, as you said, Alexa go for a P jab, because at -2 defense, if that 𝗵𝗺 stays in, it will die. So might as well get a P jab onto anything that comes through. Let's see what he has.
Saku comes out in turbo choreography for the 𝗬𝗺. I wanted that to be 𝗬𝗺 in my hearts of heart that turn, but I guess giving 𝗬𝗺 that speed is also very nice. Water cutting Lily's not going to be enough to kill it. So we should be able to go first next turn thanks to that speed and get at least one more heavy CPG off.
Yeah, so at +2 speed for sure, able to outspeed both the Saku Tornado and the WCL from 𝗧𝗵𝗺. So as you said before, 𝗬𝗺 dropping down, maybe able to go off on his own terms. And honestly, anything that swaps into the Saku spot, looking pretty bad in that situation. The only one that would be good at eating those attacks would be the 𝗧𝗵𝗺, and that's already on the board. At the worst, maybe you sacrifice 𝗵𝗺, you bring back 𝗵𝗺, but then you have to deal with the Volar and 𝗬𝗺 as well without that 𝗵𝗺. Yeah, I feel like 𝗵𝗺 is not too necessary, so we might be seeing a sacrifice from Tsubaki on that Saku spot, because that's going to be a lot of damage if Saku stays in.
Yeah, I think the 𝗵𝗺 sacrifice probably is the best play for Tsubaki, just because it's already so low. You know, you might be able to get one Thunder Strike off onto Volar, but as we saw last time, it doesn't even do half. It would be going down that following turn no matter what. I think Saku lets 𝗧𝗵𝗺 take that hit after 𝗵𝗺 falls victim to the perfect jab. 𝗬𝗺 knocks itself out if he decides to CPG or even stay in and do anything. And that would put Tsubaki in a pretty good position. The following turn, we can bring Saku back out once more and have some pretty effective typing towards most of 𝗧𝗵𝗺's side.
Alright, so 𝗬𝗠k being retreated for that Volar, so 𝗧𝗵𝗺 switching up that, the double swap game plan. Alright, so making sure everything comes online for all his Temtems, but Tsubaki staying put, so maybe saving that 𝗬𝗺. It is at +2 speed, so could come into effect down the road. We'll see if it does though.
And who knows, maybe saving 𝗵𝗺 will actually turn out well now that Tornado did 56% with the Thunder Strike in the future to take it down. but that certainly could happen. That's, I mean, we've seen stranger things happen, and 𝗵𝗶 can certainly survive anything from a 𝗬𝗏𝗺 or Voliren. So if he's able to get that kind of board state, 𝗵𝗶 would be in heaven.
Yeah, and I want to point out something that was pointed out to us. I wonder, you know, J-Dragon may be forgetting about the item he was running on 2Vine, or just wanted to preserve the 2Vine for another time. But with that chamomile on the 2Vine, it's not going to be keeping that +2 speed. So I wonder if you just went out swinging. Was J-Dragon scared that he wasn't able to outspeed the 𝗧𝗵𝗵 for something? I'm not too sure.
It could have been something along the lines of, you know, expecting something else and then changing his mind later. Or, you know, there's a million different possibilities. It could have just been trying to get a bit more later on against maybe the mix. Yeah, we do see some good hits coming through for this Saku. It is enough to bring him down all the way. Superhero Luma's sparkly Saku. Spotify 𝗏𝗏𝗺𝗏 falls.
Yeah, and that -1 defense doing a whole lot to bring that Saku down, so not too bad. Well done for the side of J-Dragon. That's a good momentum, right? You take down Tsubaki's MVP Temtem.
Yeah, that's a moral victory if nothing else. The first time that falls is the... Yeah, I mean, a pretty good place HP-wise for both of them still. I mean, 𝗧𝗵𝗺's 100%, 𝗪𝗃𝗃 is 100%, Fluffy is 100% for Tsubaki, and still a lot of green and orange Tems on J-Dragon side 2Vine, the only one looking at risk. Current board state, though, this mix is looking very good into pretty much everything. I mean, Squawk is not going to love to take crystal spikes, but Mooflank definitely doesn't want that energy manipulation, so it will swap into the 2Vine. He takes any of those mental attacks just a little bit better, but it is still so low on HP. You never know. The 𝗍𝗵𝗶 goes towards Squawk instead, brings him down to 41%. And it does have that synergy, so it's going to be exhausted for even longer. And handcuffs, he's trapped in. There's nothing he can do. Toxic Plume, I mean, it's good. It lowers the attack on this 𝗧𝗵𝗺. Frond Whip not going to do it. No, it does still do enough. 2Vine falls down. I thought the minus attack might just barely make it live, but not today.
Yeah, not today. So 2Vine going down without anything to say for himself. But hey, mitigating damage on itself, or no, taking the damage on itself does mitigate damage towards the back line. So what does he want to bring in? It will be the Mashuk. You know, this mix is such a problem, I want to say. Once this 2Vine goes down, what is really taking care of mix? You have Mashuk with some uppercuts, I guess, but it's weak to mental. So is Mooflank, and 𝗬𝗏𝗺𝗏's, maybe if it has Inner Spirit, it could do a whole lot to the 𝗪𝗃𝗃. But this mix looking like a really big headache for the side J-Dragon. Just as it stands, able to take care of 3 out of the 4 Temtems, and that 4th one already trapped in at 41%. So if he takes care of that guy, Mix is gonna have a really fun time with the remainder of this game.
Oh yeah, and a fantastic read with Voliren coming in to take that Urushiol. No more toxic damage for you. Psy Surge onto Squawk brings him down into the red. He does have to rest because of that exhaustion lasting from the previous turn. From this 𝗪𝗃𝗃, this mix.
Yeah, I keep calling it 𝗪𝗃𝗃 as well, but there it goes. The hyperkinetic, a little bit above 40. Okay. It can't. Oh, that is a way to take care of it. So Tsubaki gonna try to be doing a little shuffling to try to revitalize this mix, or if it does not, 𝗪𝗃𝗃 will be brought all the way down with that Urushiol alone.
Yeah, I mean, that'll do it, but it's gonna take some time. Considering Voliren is gone, now Mix is gonna do a lot of damage while it lasts. And if 𝗧𝗵𝗺 comes in, if 𝗧𝗵𝗺 gives it a bit of a revitalize later on, then it's safely in Puppet Master, and there's no more AoE for J-Dragon, unless he's got Toxic Gas, but that doesn't give the Toxic tick, so it might not be enough.
Yeah, very true. So we'll see. I mean, he has to do it within the next 2 turns. So either, actually, no, he has to do it now because one toxic tick will be this turn. And then after the end of the next turn, Mix is going to fall down. So he has to bring in 𝗬𝗍𝗺 this turn, revitalize the following turn to save it. If he doesn't do that, Alakazam will be brought down. Is that okay, though? If you're Tsubaki's side, is that okay? Is that a noble sacrifice? You still have the Fulfi in the back line. But no, actually, I think you need the Mix, though, because you have a lot of those. You have the Mouflink to deal with. So I don't think sacrificing the Mix here would be that right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think Mouflink is just going to be so scary if there's no Mix. But Energy Manipulation hits this 𝗬𝗺𝗺. I'm surprised that Voloran stayed in. I guess potentially going for the sacrifice minus attack, thinking if the Mouflink stays, that'd be very good. It is still good minus attack onto 5-head, but in the future, I mean, he's really just going to be using Perfect Jab and maybe Turbo. Rushiel spam with 𝗬𝗺𝗺, so I don't know if its actual attack stat matters as much for this game.
Yeah, perhaps just for those Toxic Inks, but you know, Toxic Ink more so for the Toxic Ticks, but I misspoke, so it's actually going to be 2 ticks of damage remaining. So I think Tsubaki's electing right here to let go of the Mix, trying to do enough damage. As we're seeing here, Side Surge looking into the Machoke. Maybe it's just like your classic Doom. It's almost like J-Dragon Doom the Mix, but if you're able to do enough damage before your Temtem dies from that Doom status effects, you're still favored in that matchup. And it looks like Mix is doing a whole lot in this matchup. So Crystal Spike to the trapped 𝗬𝗺𝗺 looks pretty good. Energy Manipulation onto Machoke. It's either that or the Mouflink gets it. Looks pretty good. So I think Tsubaki feeling okay in this situation.
Yeah, I think at the end of this one, we'll see 𝗬𝗺𝗺 staying strong against its Mouflink that really just can't do it at this point. I mean, he would need to knock it down far enough to use Execution, but with Revitalize and Bush, 𝗬𝗺𝗺 is the master at staying alive. And now Mouflink is all that's left for J-Dragon. I mean, only 3 Tems to kill now that Mix has fallen, but this is still a lot to ask.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, you have the Grumper, you have the 𝗬𝗺𝗺. 𝗬𝗺𝗺 by himself, even though this is a low attack 𝗬𝗺𝗺, the fact that it's going to be increasing his defense with every attack the Mouflink does, it's already so annoying for J-Dragon because you reduce the HP, and then following that turn, 𝗬𝗺𝗺 has things like Revitalize, has things like Bush. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, now Grumper comes in. I guess just protecting the Voloran for a little bit. His base jump does go that way. It does knock down the Grumper, so it's a little bit of progress. But now 𝗬𝗺𝗺𝗺 has been left alone to revitalize itself. And that was happening either way, and I don't think there's anything that Mouflink can do about that.
Oh, maybe to help out a little bit, it does get that +1 speed. The Volering is at -2 defense, so a Goring 100% will bring it down. And then as your classic 1v1, can a minus attack 𝗬𝗺𝗺𝗺? Oh boys, I mean, 𝗬𝗺𝗺𝗺 tends to out heal everything, right? So this might be going a little bit late game.
Yeah, I mean, 𝗬𝗺𝗺𝗺 didn't do too much damage, but at this point, it just needs to be above 61%. 𝗬𝗺𝗺𝗺 wins. And now he's just going to get these Velocity buffs, plus, and Water Cutting Lily, there we go. I mean, Mouflink's going to be down below 50%, all the way to 45%. And I think that's the end of it. I mean, Goring hits this 𝗬𝗺𝗺𝗺 for 45, but he's just going to heal himself back up. Execution can't come in time. 𝗬𝗺𝗺𝗺𝗺 is going to outlive the Mouflink.
He does get the speed, so at the end of the day, Execution, even though it's a 1 prior move, should at least be able to outspeed the 𝗬𝗺𝗺𝗺, but you are absolutely right. You have to get it in the range of Execution, and little by little is looking more and more hopeless for J-Dragon, 54%. Oh, and there goes the Bush, so not being fast enough. Wait a minute. There's somewhat of a chance, but this is rough because Mouflink is running out of stamina.
I mean, move flank, it's nice that base jump is only 16 stamina. It's not going to exhaust him right away. He got a couple of attacks off, but I mean, 50% Colossity just keeps on building. Revitalize just brings 𝗧𝗵𝗵 back up like nothing ever happened. He's at 75%.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, it's pretty much like nothing ever happened. Move flank working so hard, and the nimble. All right, okay. A little friendly concession, I want to say, knowing that he can't really do anything about the healing power from the 𝗧𝗵𝗵, goes ahead and just increases the 𝗧𝗵𝗵 speed just for little laughs and giggles.
You know, at the end, that was really just a bait with that nimble. He says, you know, you're going to be faster now. I want you to try and bush, and you know, eventually you'll overexert yourself using all of those all of those high priority moves that you just want to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and it looks like J-Dragon saying, just take me down already, Tsubaki. I've had enough, but honestly, really close matchup. I want to say the biggest point for J-Dragon to maybe swing things back around, he anticipated the 𝗧𝗵𝗵 one too many turns, because we were talking about it over here, like, does he want to keep the mix alive? Does he want to keep it? He has to switch in 𝗧𝗵𝗵. That's exactly what J-Dragon was thinking about the entire time. And honestly, for those 2 turns, he Euroshouled into that Volerant spot. So maybe those Euroshoulds...